for this Bhagavad Gita reading. Last time we have discussed about this Bhagavad Gita from chapter 1, how Dhritarashtra is very much attached to his family member, and he's asking to Sanjaya that what did my sons and the sons of Pandu did, and they assemble, and what they did do in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And in response to that, Sanjay is saying many things, that who is there in the battlefield, and then Duryodhana is saying who is there in the side of Pandavas and who is there in the side of Kauravas. And then we have seen that they have blown their councils, and the councils' names were also given over there, like Panchajanya, Devdatta, Pondra, Mahashankar. So there were different names were given of the councils, and we have gone through this summarized session that it is the scene is going to set, and now we are going to discuss from 19th verse, where we are going to see what is going to happen when all this has happened, when all they have blown their councils and all. So before starting, I would recite Mangalacharan, and meanwhile you all can raise your hands, whoever want to read. So I'm just reciting this Mangalacharan. Please try to recite after me. Om Agyantimarandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamscha Shri Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Tapte Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatrubhescha Kripa Sindhu Bhaya Patitanam Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama. So Hare Krishna everyone. I would like to request Keshav Prabhu to please share the screen. We are going to read from first chapter 19th verse. We have 4 hands raised, and Tambaraji, Shweta Singhlaji, Asha Lataji, and I can see the name of the 4th person. If you can rename yourself, because I'm not able to see your name over there. Text number 19. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. So, Ritambaraji, you can unmute yourself and start reading.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
It's a humble request if other than the speaker and the person who is telling बाकी सबको अगर mute करने के लिए request कर दें disturbance को कम होगी. Hare Krishna. Saghosho.
Yes, Mataji.
सघोषो धृतराष्ट्राणां हृदयानि व्यद्रारयत् नभश्च पृथ्वीं चैव तुमुलोऽभ्युमनादयन्. The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, and thus vibrating both in the sky and on the earth, it shattered the hearts of the son of Dhritarashtra. When Bhishma and the others on the side of Duryodhana blew their respective conch shells, there was no heartbreaking on the part of the Pandavas. Such occurrences are not mentioned, but in this particular verse, it is mentioned that the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra were shattered by the sounds vibrated by the Pandavas' party. This is due to Pandavas and their confidence in Lord Krishna. One who takes shelter of the Supreme Lord has nothing to fear, even in the midst of the greatest calamity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji. Next is Shweta Singlaji. You can unmute yourself and start reading.
Hare Krishna. अथ व्यवस्थितं दृष्ट्वा धृतराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वज प्रवृत्ते शास्त्रसम्पदे धनुरुद्यम्य पाण्डवा ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यम् idam aha mahipate. At that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these words. Purport. The battle was just about to begin. It is understood from above statement that the sons of Dhritarashtra were more or less disheartened by the unexpected arrangement of military force by the Pandavas, who were guided by the direct instructions of Lord Krishna on the battlefield. The emblem of Hanuman on the flag of Arjuna is another sign of victory because Hanuman cooperated with Lord Ram in the battle between Ram and Ravan, and Lord Ram emerged victorious. Now, both Ram and Hanuman were present on the chariot of Arjuna to help him. Lord Krishna is Ram himself, and wherever Lord Ram is, his eternal servitor Hanuman and his eternal consort Sita, the goddess of fortune, are present. Therefore, Arjuna had no cause to fear any armies whatsoever. And above all, the Lord of the senses, Lord Krishna, was personally present to give him direction. Thus, all good counsel was available to Arjuna in the matter of executing the battle. In such auspicious conditions arranged by the Lord for his eternal devotee lay the signs of assured victory.
Thank you very much, Mataji. I would request Pancaratna Prabhu to please guide us. What it is said that when they blow the conch shells, it was uproarious, and because of that, they shattered the heart of the son of Dhritarashtra. Why this is happening, Prabhuji?
Why is their heart being shattered, you mean?
Yes.
Because the transcendental conch shells are so powerful that they hadn't expected there'll be such support for the Pandavas. But here they're finding that they don't like to admit it, but the Pandavas have shelter of Lord Krishna, whereas they don't have any transcendental shelter. They have great personalities on the battlefield with them, but they don't have the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a shelter, because they have more of an atheistic view. So therefore, they're feeling that, oh, they didn't expect this support they're getting. The Pandavas have the support of the Supreme Lord. So therefore, obviously, they're feeling, when those conch shells are blowing, then they're feeling quite disturbed by it.
Right, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. So it is next shloka, 21, 22nd. Asha Lataji, if you can unmute and start reading.
अर्जुन उवाच सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये रथं स्थापय मेच्युत यावदेतानिरीक्षेऽहं योद्धकामान् विस्थितान् कैमर्या सह योद्धाव्याम् अस्मिन् रणसमुद्यमे. Arjuna said, Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. Purport. Although, shall I go through the purport? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Although Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, out of his causeless mercy, he was engaged in the service of his friend. He never fails in his affection for his devotees, and thus he is addressed herein infallible. As charioteer, he had to carry out the orders of Arjuna, and since he did not hesitate to do so, he is addressed as infallible. Although he had accepted the position of a charioteer for his devotee, his supreme position was not challenged. In all circumstances, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hrishikesha, the Lord of the total senses. The relationship between the Lord and his servitor is very sweet and transcendental. The servitor is always ready to render service to the Lord, and similarly, the Lord is always seeking an opportunity to render some service to the devotee. He takes greater pleasure in his pure devotees, assuming the advantageous position of ordering him than he does in being the giver of orders. Since he is master, everyone is under his orders and no one is above him to order him. But when he finds that a pure devotee is ordering him, he obtains transcendental pleasure, although he is the infallible master in all circumstances. As a pure devotee of the Lord, Arjuna had no desire to fight with his cousins and brothers, but he was forced to come onto the battlefield by the obstinacy of Duryodhana, who was never agreeable to any peaceful negotiation. Therefore, he was very anxious to see who the leading persons present on the battlefield were. Although there was no question of a peacemaking endeavor on the battlefield, he wanted to see them again and to see how much they were bent upon demanding an unwanted war. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
This is a very important concept to understand. The point there being made by Srila Prabhupada that the different avatars, the relationship with the devotee between the different avatars with the Lord, it is always that relationship of respect. The Lord is always superior and the devotee is always inferior in all respects. In any of the avatars, be it Lord Ram or Matsya Kurma, all the different avatars. But the Lord in his original form as Lord Krishna, he accepts a lesser role than the devotee. That's an amazing thing with Lord Krishna, that relationship is available where the Lord accepts an inferior role. So here, Arjuna is the superior role, and Lord Krishna is the chariot driver. I mean, it's a very, very junior position to take. So Prabhupada is saying, when there's someone who's a pure devotee, who has 100% pure devotion for the Lord, then the Lord actually enjoys this kind of inferior relationship sometimes. In the cowherd boys, sometimes the cowherd boy climbs on Lord Krishna's shoulders and he has to carry him. Because of in the game they're playing, he gets punished and okay, now your fault. Now you have to carry another cowherd boy. And the Lord is enjoying that. How can anyone put their feet on the Lord? That is such a great offense. But this is actually the Lord's flavor. And just like sometimes as a small boy, then his father calls him, you bring me my chappal. And he brings his father's shoes and he carries them on his head and he brings to his father. And he's enjoying that interaction and that relationship and that mellow of that bhav. So you can only get that kind of relationship is available in relationship with Lord Krishna. With the other avatars, it's never there. So Srila Prabhupada is making that point. Very, very important to understand that concept.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for your insights. So it's text number 23. Manvik, you can unmute yourself and start reading. Hare Krishna. Manvik, are you there? So Manvik is not there. Deepa Jaktani ji, you can unmute yourself and start reading.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dharmat Pranam.
Am I audible?
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Manvik, next you can, we'll take you next. Now, Deepa ji is going to read.
Okay.
Right. Yes, Deepa Jaktani ji, you can start reading this. 1.23.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yotsamanan vaiksheham yaetetra samagata dhritarashtraya durgudara yuddhe priya chikshirvat sarvaha. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Purport: it was an open secret that Duryodhan wanted to usurp the kingdom of the Pandavas by evil plans in collaboration with his father Dhritarashtra. Therefore, all persons who had joined the side of Duryodhan must have been birds, the birds of the same feather. Arjuna wanted to see them on the battlefield before the fight was begun, just to learn who they were, but he had no intention of proposing peace negotiations with them. It was also a fact that he wanted to see them to make an estimate of strength which he had to face, although he was quite confident of victory because Krishna was sitting by his side.
Thank you very much, Deepa ji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
It's not that everybody knew who was on which side previously. There was obviously discussion going here and there was lobbying going backwards and forwards, but it wasn't really clear in all circumstance who was on which side with Duryodhana or with Yudhishthira. So when you're coming on the battlefield, the Kauravas are also surprised to see some of those great personalities. Some they understood, yes, they'll definitely be there. But the others, they were always in a wonder. So now this is the telling point. Standing on the battlefield, Arjuna is having a look to see, okay, now, who's sided up with who? Who is the actual army we have to face? And previous verses showing that also in Duryodhana's side, they're a bit worried. They didn't realize, they didn't think so many would come on the side of the Pandavas. So they also became very much perturbed by the whole thing.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. So Manvik, you can unmute yourself and start reading this verse 1.24. Hare Krishna, Manvik.
You're still muted.
Manvik Vishwas. Yep.
Sanjaya uvacha evam mukto ऋषिकेशो गुडाकेशेन भारता सीनया योरुभयो मध्ये स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमः.
Yes, good.
Translation.
Translation.
Sanjaya said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. Prabhu, in this verse, Arjuna is referred to as Gurukesa. Guraka means sleep, and one who conquers sleep is called Gurukesa.
Gudakesha.
Purakesha. Sleep also means ignorance. So Arjuna conquered both sleep and ignorance of his friendship with Krishna. As a great devotee of Krishna, he could not forget Krishna even for a moment, because that is the nature of a devotee, either in walking or in sleep. A devotee of the Lord can never be free of thinking of Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes. Thus, a devotee of Krishna can conquer both sleep and ignorance simply by thinking of Krishna constantly. This is called Krishna's consciousness or samadhi. As Hrishikesa, or the director of the senses and mind of every living entity, Krishna could understand Arjuna's purpose in placing the chariot in the midst of the armies. Thus he did so and spoke as follows.
Thank you, Manvik. Hare Krishna. Mahesh, who started this 1.25, and I need more hands because 25 here, and most of you have hidden their face. You are not showing your face, and I don't see hands over here also. So, Mahesh Panjabi Prabhu, please unmute and start reading the 1.25.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Text 25. Bhishma Drona Pramukhatah Sarvesham cha Mahishitam Vacha Partha Pashyaitan Samvetan Kurun iti. Translation. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all the other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, just behold Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. Purport. As the supersoul of all living entities, Lord Krishna could understand what was going on in the mind of Arjuna. The use of the word Hrishikesha in this connection indicates that he knew everything. And the word Partha, meaning the son of Pritha or Kunti, is also similarly significant in reference to Arjuna. As a friend, he wanted to inform Arjuna that because Arjuna was a son of Pritha, the sister of his own father Vasudev, he had agreed to be the charioteer of Arjuna. Now, what did Krishna mean when he told Arjuna to behold the Kurus? Did Arjuna want to stop there and not fight? Krishna never expected such things from the son of his aunt Pritha. The mind of Arjuna was thus predicted by the Lord in friendly joking.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Yes, would request Pancharat Prabhu to give us some insight on this, because Lord is saying, behold, Partha, all Kurus. What did Krishna want to say?
Your voice is a bit broken up. Yes, just this Lord is being addressed as Rishikesha, the master of the senses. Not only his senses, everyone's senses. He's the master of everyone. So he knows everything, past, present, and future. So he's very much aware of the reason why Arjuna asked, bring the chariot between, let me see who's on which side, who wants to fight. So the Lord understood immediately Arjuna's mentality, why he's asking that. And therefore he's preempting and saying, yes, yes, behold all these Kurus who are there, the Kauravas, because he understands Arjuna is thinking, oh, how can we fight with these people? How can we fight with grandfather Bhishma? So the Lord is preempting him, knowing full well what is in his mind. That's all. So now it's coming up. We'll understand. Arjuna now will start to reveal what's in his mind and what is he thinking.
Okay, thank you. So, you can unmute yourself and start reading from this 1.26.
Who was that? I couldn't catch your broken up.
Khushbu Sharma ji. Hare Krishna. If I'm audible to you?
Now, yes, yes, she's on.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Tatra pashyat asthitan partha pitrinat pita mahan acharya namatula. Sorry, Prabhuji. Actually, I could
No,
not
no, no,
read
no.
it.
You just keep on speaking. Acharya Manatula Bhatra.
Tatra pashyat sthitan par
Partha.
partha partha pitran atha pita mahan आचार्यन मतुलन भात्रीन पुत्रान पुत्रान शखीम तथा सवासुरम सुदर क्याभ्य सेनायोर उभयोर अपि.
Good. Translation.
There are a translation. There Arjuna could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his father-in-law and well-wishers. Purport. On the battlefield, Arjuna could see all kinds of relatives. He could see persons like Bhurishrava, who were his father's contemporaries, grandfathers Bhisma and Somdatta, teachers like Dronacharya and Kripacharya, maternal uncle like Salya and Shakuni, brothers like Duryodhana, sons like Lakshmana, friends like Avasthama, well-wishers like Ashwathama, well-wishers like Kratvarma, etc. He could see also the armies which contained many of his friends. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. So next is Priyanka Maheshwari ji. You can unmute and start reading.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Tan samikshya sakanteyaha sarvan bandhun vasthitan kripaya paraya vishto vishidanne damubravit. Prabhuji, Sonakshi continue karegi aage. Sonakshi.
When the son of Kunti, Arjun, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus.
Thank you, Sonakshi. And next shloka you can also read because there is no purport in this shloka.
दृष्ट्वेमं स्वजनं कृष्ण युयुत्सुं समुपस्थितम् सीदन्ति मम गात्राणि मुखं च परिशुष्यति.
Translation.
My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up.
Purport.
Any man who has genuine devotion to the Lord has all the good qualities which are found in godly persons or in the demigods, whereas the non devotee, however advanced he may be in material qualifications by education and culture, lacks in godly qualities. As such, Arjun, just after seeing his kinsmen, friends, and relatives on the battlefield, was at once overwhelmed by compassion for them who had so decided to fight amongst themselves. As far as his soldiers were concerned, he was sympathetic from the beginning, but he felt compassion even for the soldiers of the opposite party, for foreseeing their imminent death. And while he was so thinking, the limbs of his body began to quiver and his mouth became dry. He was more or less astonished to see their fighting spirit. Practically the whole community, all blood relatives of Arjun, had come to fight with him. This overwhelmed a kind devotee like Arjun. Although it is not mentioned here, still one can easily imagine that not only were Arjun's bodily limbs quivering and his mouth drying up, but he was also crying out of compassion. Such symptoms in Arjun were not due to weakness, but to his soft heartedness, a characteristic of a pure devotee of the Lord. It is said, therefore, Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagavati Akinchana Sarvair Gunes Tatra.
सुरः हरौ अभक्त्यस्य कुतो महद्गुण मनो रथेनस्ति धवतो बहिः.
One who has unflinching devotion for the personality of Godhead has all the good qualities of the demigods, but one who is not a devotee of the Lord has only material qualifications that are of little value. This is because he is hovering on the mental plane and is certain to be attracted by the glaring material energy.
Thank you very much, Sonakshi. We can see that these little the children, they are actually reading it so perfectly, and we should get inspired from them. So thank you, Sonakshi, very much. Would request Pancaratna Prabhu to give some insights on this verse, that why Arjuna is saying that my mouth is drying up and my body is quivering.
Because people on the material platform like Duryodhana, when they act with only their own benefit in mind. They're not thinking about anybody else except themselves. That is the mainstream materialistic consciousness is like that. Everybody is self-centered and considering only myself, not considering the situation around. But that's not a devotee. A devotee is always considering everyone else. He's always considering. So Arjuna is standing there in the battlefield. All these soldiers, they're all husbands. They've all got families. You know, they're all related with each other. So he has that compassion and soft-heartedness, this thinking that is, doesn't matter who wins, doesn't matter who loses. In this war, everyone loses. Everyone loses. There's so much catastrophe. It's such a disaster. There's no question. For what? Just to get some small piece of land? Who cares? We're not interested in all these material assets. So devotee has that. He'd rather sacrifice his own situation for the betterment of society. Right? So it's a very rare, a very rare quality actually. But mostly people have a Duryodhana mentality. Everything for me, whatever I can get, as much as I can get. And if it hurts somebody else, bad luck. Right? That's the mainstream material consciousness is like that. So we have to get away and free ourselves from that kind of mentality and have more of a broader vision and see the benefit of others first.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for the so practical application of this verse. So would request Raksha Aunty, if you can read. You have actually raised your hand, but you have put it down. Raksha Aunty, if you can read this verse 1.29. Raksha Verma ji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
वैप्तुश्च शरीरे मे हर्षः च जायते गाण्डीवं संसते हस्तान् त्वक् एव परिदह्यते. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. But there are two kinds of trembling of the body and two kinds of standing of the hair on end. Such phenomenon occurs either in great spiritual ecstasy or out of great fear under material conditions. There is no fear in transcendental realization. Arjuna's symptoms in this situation are out of material fear, namely loss of life. There is evident from other symptoms also. He became so impatient that his famous bow Gandiva was slipping from his hands, and because his heart was burning within him, he was feeling a burning sensation of the skin. All these are due to a material conception of life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Tears also. Sometimes we also have tears, and the tears may be hot tears or cold tears. So if you're having tears because of transcendental ecstasy, they may be coming warm. Someone's crying. It's not crying in the same way out of fear of something, but because of so much happiness, sometimes tears come. And then sometimes so much distress, tears come, cold tears come. So it's the same. There's many, many symptoms you can read.
So next time, please don't check the temperature whenever you have tears. All right. So Shweta Singlaji, if you can read this text number 1.30, and I need more hands because only Shweta Singlaji have raised hand. Yes, Shweta Singlaji, you can start reading.
Just one thing for everyone, because the Sanskrit is not so easy. Try and read it as slowly as you can. If you try to do too quickly, then sometimes we get, because we're a little bit anxiety, sometimes we trip up. But if you go really slowly and just part by part, makes it a bit easier. You can try it, might help.
Yes, it might help because most of us, whoever actually gone through the schooling in India, they might have knowledge of Sanskrit and all, but those who have went to the convent school and also, they can try from this word to word, not like here it is written, so you can read it from this English written over here also. So Shweta Singlaji, if you can unmute and start reading.
न च शक्नोमि अवस्थितुं भ्रमत्वा च मे मानः निमित्तानि च पश्यामि विपरीतानि केशव. I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune. O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon.
Purport. Yes, continue, Mataji. Purport. Hare Krishna. Shwetaji, okay, you're not able to unmute. Prabhu, if you can, Mataji is not able to unmute.
Purport. Due to his impatience, Arjuna was unable to stay on the battlefield. He was forgetting himself on account of this weakness of his mind. Excessive attachment for material things puts a man in such a bewildering condition of existence. Bhayam dvitya bhiniveshata syat. Bhagavatam 11.2.37. Such fearfulness and loss of mental equilibrium take place in persons who are too affected by material conditions. Arjuna envisioned only painful reverses in the battlefield. He would not be happy even by gaining victory over the foe. The words nimittani vipritani are significant. When a man sees only frustration in his expectations, he thinks, why am I here? Everyone is interested in himself and his own welfare. No one is interested in the Supreme Self. Arjuna is showing ignorance of his real self-interest by Krishna's will. One's real self-interest lies in Vishnu or Krishna. The conditioned soul forgets this and therefore suffers material pains. Arjuna thought that his victory in the battle would only be a cause of lamentation for him.
Thank you very much, Shwetaji. Prabhuji, if you want to say something in this shloka, that nimittani vipritani, why I'm here, it is said here,
Just showing
one
this,
thinks that one here.
that Arjuna is also self-interested. It's not that only Duryodhana is interested in himself, but by having this negative response, or Arjuna is seeing everyone on the battlefield and not wanting to fight, but that is also in some way, Prabhupada is saying that is also his own self-interest, that he doesn't want to create disturbance and he doesn't want to see, that Arjuna thought that his victory in the battlefield would cause lamentation for him because he would see all of his relatives are dying. So Prabhupada is saying that he also, in a different way, he's also self-interested. And he becomes, basically, he's in Maya, right? He's not seeing on the spiritual platform. Now he begins to see in a bodily platform. So actually he becomes covered over and seeing on a material platform also. Although maybe in a positive way, that no one should be killed in the battlefield, not because of me, and I will lament because of all the death on the battlefield. But there is also self-interest. He's not seeing on a spiritual platform any longer. And there's a reason for it, obviously, to set what we are reading now is observing the armies on the battlefield, to set the scene for the Lord now to speak the Gita. So need to create that situation. So Arjuna, when he's in Maya, it's not in the same Maya that we are in, under Mahamaya, but he's under this Yog Maya, where the special potency of the Lord for covering over his own pure devotees so that he can have relationships and different lila. So Arjuna seems like he's in Maya and he's covered over just as we are, but it's actually a lila of the Lord. He's a pure devotee. He's never in Maya, but under the Lord's Mahamaya, Yoga Maya potency, he seems to be confused. So this is what's coming up now.
Right. Thank you very much. So I also would like to request everyone. So if you have any question, you can post here in the chat. So meanwhile, Prabhuji can also give the answer. Yes, Mahesh Punjabi Prabhu is asking a question. In verse 24, Purport Srila Prabhupada writes, either in waking or sleep, the devotee of the Lord can never be free from the thinking of Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes. Could you kindly suggest how a practicing devotee can do that in sleep? Thanks.
But he can do what when he's asleep?
How he can remember Krishna while he is asleep?
Well, that requires a bit of Krishna's mercy. But yes, it's saying, as a great devotee, of Krishna, Arjuna could not forget Krishna even for a moment. So this point there, that pure devotees, they're always remembering the Lord at all times. And so Mahesh is now asking then how to do that while you're asleep. How to do that while you're awake? That means that while you're awake, you're able to do it, but at sleep time, you're having difficulty. We're struggling to remember Krishna all the time while we're awake. If you're able to remember the Lord during your waking hours, then remembering the Lord when you're sleeping will come very easily for you. Please don't worry for that. The difficulty is in waking hours because we have so many distractions in our life. We're out in the market, we're moving here, there, people, people who are not devoted, materialistic-minded people we're dealing with every day. How to remember Krishna, right? And so much responsibility going on. So that's the science, the technique of, according to my situation in life, my family, my financial, physical, mental situation, what suits me? How do I begin practicing and applying devotional service in my life? My chanting, my regulation, and time I get up, what time do I sleep, developing, taking only Krishna Prasad, not other unwanted foodstuffs, these things. We develop that sadhana and that process, and that makes us strong. So then eventually one day we'll come to a platform where all day long we're able to remember the Lord. And if you get to that level, then even while you're asleep, you'll remember the Lord, because you won't have all those unwanted things coming into your mind during the daytime. So your mind will become peaceful. But it's a gradual process. That's all we can say. It's a gradual process. One has to start. That's all. And then let it grow. Slowly let it grow on us.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And Shruta Singhaji is also saying one thing you can also try is that when you're going to sleep, you can hear or read Krishna Katha and Prabhupada lectures, so it would be easy for you. So would Rekha ji to unmute and start reading?
Pasmi hatva swajanam ahave na khankhe se avijayam Krishna na cha rajam sukhani cha. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen in this battle, nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. Without knowing that one's self-interest is in Vishnu or Krishna, conditioned souls are attracted by bodily relationships, hoping to be happy in such situations. In such a blind conception of life, they forget even the causes of material happiness. Arjuna appears to have even forgotten the moral codes for a Kshatriya. It is said that two kinds of men, namely the Kshatriya who dies directly in front of the battlefield under Krishna's personal orders, and the person in the renounced order of life who is absolutely devoted to spiritual culture, are eligible to enter into the sun globe, which is so powerful and dazzling. Arjuna is reluctant even to kill his enemies, let alone his relatives. He thinks that by killing his kinsmen, there would be no happiness in his life, and therefore he is not willing to fight, just as a person who does not feel hunger is not inclined to cook. He has now decided to go into the forest and live a secluded life in frustration. But as a Kshatriya, he requires a kingdom for his subsistence, because the Kshatriyas cannot engage themselves in any other occupation. But Arjuna has no kingdom. Arjuna's sole opportunity for gaining a kingdom lies in fighting with his cousins and brothers and reclaiming the kingdom inherited from his father, which he does not like to do. Therefore, he considers himself fit to go into the forest to live a secluded life of frustration.
Thank you very much, Krishna Priya. So long purport in this verse also, Prabhuji. Because here Arjuna is saying, I do not see any good can come from killing my own kinsmen.
It's just the same thing. Discussing here his self-interest without knowing one's self-interest is in Vishnu. If someone doesn't know that, then they're under this false ego. Then they start to calculate what is their self-interest. That same thing Duryodhana is working in his own way because of what he feels is his self-interest. Arjuna is doing the same thing now, thinking that what is his self-interest, but on a material platform, on the bodily platform. This is now what's happening here leading up to the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita being spoken. So now he's totally confused. He's become totally confused. And then out of frustration, then he has to think now what to do. What can I do about it? So Srila Prabhupada hints to the next verses coming up. He hints to that. Now, what will Arjuna do out of this material frustration? What shall I do? I'll go to the forest. But then Prabhupada is already mentioning, how will you go to the forest? You're a very powerful Kshatriya. You have weapons from Agni Dev. You have weapons from Lord Vishnu. You have defeated Lord Shiva in battle. You're a very powerful Kshatriya. How will you go to the forest and become a renunciate? It's not your dharma. It's not your guna, your karma. You'll not be successful, right? It's all false because you're not recognizing Lord Vishnu. That is your real self-interest, developing that relationship with Lord Vishnu, going back home, back to Godhead. So Lord Arjuna has forgotten these things and therefore has become very much confused.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Sapna Mataji is asking a question. Why it is difficult to surrender to Krishna? Thoughts make us restless when then again we go to material world.
Say again?
Why it is difficult to surrender to Krishna? Thoughts make us restless, then we go to material world.
Because if we fully surrender to Krishna, then the Lord also surrenders to us. That's the relationship, very close relationship. So the Lord doesn't want to give himself to his devotee if the devotee is not 100%, right? Then there'll be some cheating there. So therefore, then there's always that tests. We're always being tested to make sure that it is Krishna and Krishna only that we want. Probably gave you an example that when a mother has a young baby, all the baby has to do to get a taste is cry. All the baby has to do, just has to make noise, and then the mother will give milk, right? So it's very easy for the baby to get a taste. You just got to make a sound. But then later on, as the baby gets a little older, then, you know, it becomes a little more difficult to get that same taste, have to do a little more work. But when they become a young child, maybe they have to hold the bottle themselves. Before the mother holds the bottle, does everything. When the baby grows up, the mother makes the milk ready, puts it in the bottle, but then the baby has to hold the bottle. And then again, when he grows up, even becomes older, then the mother will say, if you want to drink milk, you go and heat it up, heat the milk up yourself and put it in a cup, and then you drink the milk to get that same taste. You have to do a little more work. Right? So Krishna does that, makes it a little harder. Every now and then, when we first come to Krishna consciousness, we get some taste. But then the Lord wants to test us, so he makes it a little more difficult, a little more difficult. Are you really sincere? Is this really, do you really want? Are you prepared to sacrifice and give up and struggle like that? So they're just tests by the Lord. And then as we pass those tests and go through, we become stronger. Whenever we find these difficulties in Krishna consciousness, it makes us stronger. We should remain fixed to the process and fixed to the path, and they'll help us become stronger.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for your answer. I guess this would help you, Sapna Mataji. So this would be the last shlokas for what it's 32 from 32 to 35. Rekha Jaktani ji, you can unmute and start reading. Sorry, Deepa Jaktani ji. I'm really sorry. Deepa Jaktani ji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी धन्यवाद प्रणाम
Hare Krishna.
किमन राजयेने गोविन्दा किम भोगेर जीवेतनाव येषाम् अर्थे कनक्षितं नो राज्यं भोग सुखानि च ता इमेव स्थितयुद्धे प्राणं त्यक्त्वधानानि च आचार्य पित्रः पुत्रास्तथा वेचा पितामहः मत्युल्लास्व स्वसुरा पौत्रः स्यालसम्बन्धिनास्तथा इतेनाहन्त्युम् इच्छामि घनतोऽपि मधुसूदन अपि त्रालिक्यो राज्यस्य हितो किं नु मही कृते निहत्या दर्द्रष्टात्मः कापितस्य Janardana. Translation. O Govinda, of what avail to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield? O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, father-in-laws, grandsons, brother-in-laws, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Purport. Arjuna has addressed Lord Krishna as Govinda because Krishna is the object of all pleasures for cows and the senses. By using this significant word, Arjuna indicates that Krishna should understand what will satisfy Arjuna's senses. But Govinda is not meant for satisfying our senses. If we try to satisfy the senses of Govinda, however, then automatically our own senses are satisfied. Materially, everyone wants to satisfy his senses, and he wants God to be the order supplier for such satisfaction. The Lord will satisfy the senses of the living entities as much as they deserve, but not to the extent that they may covet. But when one takes the opposite way, namely when one tries to satisfy the senses of Govinda without desiring to satisfy one's own senses, then by the grace of Govinda, all desires of the living entity are satisfied. Arjuna's deep affection for community and family members is exhibited here partly due to his natural compassion for them. He is therefore not prepared to fight. Everyone wants to show his opulence to friends and relatives, but Arjuna fears that all his relatives and friends will be killed on the battlefield and he will be unable to share his opulence after victory. This is typical calculation of material life. The transcendental life, however, is different. Since a devotee wants to satisfy the desires of the Lord, he can, Lord willing, accept all kinds of opulence for the service of the Lord. And if the Lord is not willing, he should not accept a farthing. Arjuna did not want to kill his relatives, and if there were any need to kill them, he desired that Krishna kill them personally. At this point, he did not know that Krishna had already killed them before their coming into the battlefield, and that he was only to become an instrument for Krishna. This fact is disclosed in following chapters. As a natural devotee of the Lord, Arjuna did not like to retaliate against his miscreant cousins and brothers, but it was the Lord's plan that they should all be killed. The devotee of the Lord does not retaliate against the wrongdoer, but the Lord does not tolerate any mischief done to the devotee by the miscreants. The Lord can excuse a person on his own account, but he excuses no one who has done harm to his devotees. Therefore, the Lord was determined to kill the miscreants, although Arjuna wanted to excuse them. Hare Krishna, Dharmat Pranam.
So this is a very good example of spiritual consciousness over material consciousness. Materially, we think if we want to be successful in the world, I have to do, I have to be, I have to do, I have to work, and then I can become successful. We have that is a concept in the material world. And the spiritual concept is that we don't have to do, we just have to satisfy Krishna. If we satisfy the Lord, then he will satisfy everything we need. It's very difficult for us. How can that be? That's too simplistic. Right? How is it possible? If I want to maintain my family, then I have to earn, right? I have to work, I have to earn. We feel like that. But somehow or other, even at the temple, sometimes we find like that. Sometimes we're thinking, oh, we have to do fundraising. We have to organize fundraising, and we have to do fundraising because every month we need X amount of rupees to maintain the deity worship and the Goshala and the devotees and the prasadam and the guests, and we need this much fund. So we have to make plans to fundraise. And Srila Prabhupada said, no, you don't need. You don't have to do that. You just preach. You just go and preach. Do programs, do kirtan, do Harinam, Sankirtan, just preach, and Krishna will arrange everything else. And you think, oh, no, how can that work? I have to work, I have to be busy, I have to do, isn't it? That's the material concept. We all think like that. But Srila Prabhupada is teaching us, and he is saying the same to Arjuna. You don't have to do. That Krishna will take care. Prabhupada said, you just preach. So when this lockdown happened, we all experienced that we can't go out. We're not allowed to go out. Oh, how we're going to fundraise? We still have electricity bill. We still have everything. How will we fund the temple? So we were just doing programs and preaching and online classes and online courses. And somehow or other we experienced that Lakshmi came. Lakshmi came, the bills are paid, Krishna arranged everything. We were busy and focusing on preaching, as Prabhupada said, and Krishna arranged everything else. So the same thing is being told here, that Arjuna, that you don't have to work to satisfy your own senses. You don't have to work hard to become sensually satisfied. You just have to satisfy Krishna's senses, and he will satisfy everything else. He will take care. So it's complete reverse consciousness. We read in the introduction, the material world is like a tree upside down with its roots are up. The spiritual world, the roots are down and the tree grows up. The material world is a perverted reflection. Roots are up and the tree is down. Whatever we are thinking, our concepts that we have in the material world, they have to be completely reversed in the spiritual world. So just work to satisfy Govinda, and Govinda will satisfy everything else we require in life.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for this. If anybody has any questions, so they can write here or they can raise their hands. Meanwhile, I'm just going to announce names of the winners who have given the right answers last week. So here are the names. First, we have 5 correct answers. And the names are Dinesh Vanjani ji, Charanjit Gaba ji, Krishna Priya ji, Radhesham Gupta ji, DS Bakela ji, Raksha Verma ji, Rakesh Sharma ji, Sushma Sharma ji, Mamta Soni ji, Shitish Pachauri ji, Jyoti ji, Manvik ji, Neha Sen ji, Rama Zama Sen ji, Reena Agrawal ji, Renu ji, Vikas Dambale ji, Anuradha ji, Baby Suni ji, and Archana Chaudhary ji. Hari Bol. Now we have 4 correct answers. Nandalal Soni ji, Geeta Marwa ji, Sundri Radhika Mata ji, Madhav Mittal ji, Rekha Singh ji, Mudita ji, Mansi Keshwani ji, Pramila Porwal ji. Hari Bol. And 3 correct answers are Shalini Rajwanshi ji, Ashish Dharu ji, Khushi Ganesh Rumale ji, Deepika Goyal ji, Aryan ji. 2 correct answers are Asha Lata ji, Kamal Bajaj ji, Jyotika Rajawat ji, Divya ji, Neli Saini ji, and Lalit ji. And 1 correct answer was given by Gaurav Saxena ji, Dr. Gauri Shankar ji, S.K. Rajwanshi ji, Shalini ji, Sharda ji, and Khushbu ji. And if by mistake we have forgotten someone's name, so please forgive us because it was a tight schedule for Dipti Mataji as they have requested, because she is not here. So thank you all very much who have given the correct answers. So Khushbu Sharma ji is raising hand. Yes, Khushbu Sharma ji, if you can have you have any question, you can unmute yourself and ask.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Actually, I have to ask regarding a Sanskrit sloka because it is quite difficult to me. to read even and even pronounce good sloka, because I found it's very difficult to me. So please give me some suggestions that how can I correct it. Actually, I have purchased Gita, but it will take time to obtain at my home.
It will take time to obtain the Gita. I don't understand what you're saying. It will take time to obtain the Gita. It means you haven't, it hasn't arrived or something?
Prabhuji, it means that I have requested for Bhagavad Gita from the ISKCON temple, because I don't have any resources how to read it, any sloka from anywhere. So I have started to watch your videos in Zoom meeting uh, with since 2 Sundays.
But you don't have a hard copy Gita yourself.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh, you should come to temple and collect one.
But actually, it's quite difficult to me to come and visit the temple. But I'll visit as soon as possible. I have a 6-month-old daughter.
Where do you live? You talk to Lokesh, we can arrange. Devotees are going out everywhere. Maybe someone can deliver to you.
Prabhuji, I'll get it after 2 or 3 days.
Oh, no problem.
Speed post.
Sanskrit. I mean, we all have the same problem. We just have to practice. That's all. We practice, we make mistakes, we bumble along, and slowly we get better at it. No one's perfect, but that's okay. We just keep trying, keep trying. And Murari Prabhu is like that, right? We just got to keep on persisting and persisting. That's all.
Okay. And okay, that's the.
So you can contact on the given number also. In the group we have also given a number, or you can contact me also if you do not have any copy. And we are also requesting every participant, because this is the most auspicious month. Last time also we have requested, this is the most auspicious month in which the Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. So it is also auspicious if you can gift this Bhagavad Gita to anyone, if you can donate this Bhagavad Gita to anyone. And we are also planning a Tula Dan over here in the temple on Mokshadai probably. You can also the temple and do Tula, and if you can donate those Bhagavad Gita to total mass of people, or you can ask temple devotees to donate those Bhagavad Gita, because temple devotees are usually going to these jails and all these places, so they can distribute those Bhagavad Gita. So if anyone who is not having that hard copy of Bhagavad Gita, they must order this Bhagavad Gita as soon as possible. We'll courier this Bhagavad Gita at your address. And if you already have this Bhagavad Gita, you can help us distribute this Bhagavad Gita in this month. So it would be all auspicious to you and to every one of us. So thank you very much all. You are taking out your precious time and joining us in this Bhagavad Gita reading. So
there's one more point. Like in the last verse, like which we read 32 to 35, the one more point Srila Prabhupada has made, that like Arjuna, out of compassion, he did not want to kill his relatives and friends, but he thought, if Krishna wants to kill them, let Krishna do this job. But Krishna, he knew that all these, Arjuna is a pure devotee of Krishna, or perfect person in Krishna consciousness. And then any atrocities were done to Arjuna, Lord will not tolerate that. So that's why the Lord has decided that he's going to kill all of them. So that's what this is the point, like Prabhupada has made here. The Lord can excuse a person on his own account, but he excuses no one who has done harm to his devotees. Therefore, the Lord was determined to kill the miscreants, although Arjun wanted to excuse them. So this is the very important point what Srila Prabhupada has made, that Lord cannot excuse the person who has harmed or who has disturbed or done any atrocities to his devotees, pure devotees. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you very much. So thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot. We'll meet again on the next Sunday, 8 to 9. Thank you all. Hare Krishna.